Hey guys, Whitney here. Thanks so much for joining today. So this is another installment of the Ashwell Show where I'm going to show you my tips, tricks, and hacks and just how I got started in rental real estate. And so if you have never purchased real estate before, or if you have many rentals under your belt, you're in the right place because this show is all about helping you get started and scaling in rental real estate. So maybe you fall in one of these situations. You've tried to buy rentals before, but got stuck in analysis paralysis and lost your confidence. Or you invested in a few already, but you've hit a ceiling of growth. You're not sure how to crack through. Or you're just overwhelmed by all the information out there and you just don't know how to get started. If that applies to you, you're in the right place. The topics we address on the Ashwell Show are meant to bust through these three different struggles that many investors when starting out in real estate actually encounter. But before we get started, this is me and my crazy crew actually. It wasn't all like roses for us. I mean, we actually started off investing in 2002. I totally by accident bought a house with a significant other, and that whole deal fell through. The relationship, that is, I ended up with the house, and I had a rehab project on my hands and the entire note in my name, and that's really where my career began. I stuffed the house full of roommates, completed the rehab project through a lot of grit on my own. YouTube wasn't around then, so the Home Depot 1-2-3 book was my new best friend. Fast forward a few years, I met my husband and he joined me in my antics. We continued doing house hacking and live-in flipping projects. But something really struck us. We did not have financial freedom. We were able to gather these large paychecks, but we had no strategy to actually achieve financial independence and financial freedom. And that's when we put the finger on our strategy that we were missing, and that was cash flow. We needed to invest reliably to produce predictable, stable cash flow from our real estate investments. So, and this is just where we are today. Again, the tip of the iceberg. There's so much work that goes underneath all of this, but where we are today, we have partnered in several $1 million of real estate, got several flips under our belt. But honestly, none of this is possible. None of this progress was possible until we actually got those first few rentals under our belt, and we chose the BRRRR strategy to execute on that. But honestly, you can do this in turnkey investing, buy and hold investing. It doesn't have to be BRRRR, but you got to get yourself in the game. And we did all this while working, being a wife, being parents to our child, and taking care of other family members. So essentially, if you've got a limiting belief around getting started, if you have a limiting belief around, can I actually scale up to be a multi-millionaire in real estate? Can I do this all while working a job, married with kids, maybe taking care of additional family members? You know what? You can, okay? But anyways, I want to clue you in on a few things, right? Because there are some things that we did extremely different in our real estate investing that you don't necessarily hear about. Okay. And so that's really what makes what I'm going to share so different. You see, I'm going to actually, over the course of this webinar series, I'm going to demystify certain parts of the process that you have to have in place in order to succeed, both in financial freedom and having your time freedom back. And these are all things that I learned over my 18 years of investing. So one, if you want financial freedom, if you want time freedom, you have to have an investing roadmap. And you have to have an investing roadmap. You have to learn from others and find one that will actually help you get to financial independence in a fraction of the time. Trust me, if you decide to move forward without an investing plan, you will spend years spinning your wheels. And the reason why I know this is because I did that, okay? Two, you have to have a formula for repeatable, simple systems and put a team in place, the right team in place to execute on these systems. All right. If you think you have to do everything yourself, one, it's totally not true. And two, all you're going to get is another job. Okay. So we're going to have to demystify that. And then three, if you want to scale in any sort of form or fashion, you have to learn how to use other people's money to accelerate your wealth build. Now, it doesn't mean you have to use private investors. I mean, we're just talking even other people's money can be bank money, right? But you have to learn how to leverage bank money appropriately and safely in order to scale and build your wealth in a quick fashion. But all learning to do all these things, okay? You can take my 18-year path where I made all the mistakes in the book, or you can stand on the shoulders of giants and shortcut your path to growth. But really what you're looking for is the result. And my result that I've gotten from all of this is 100% choice on how I spend my time. All right, so let's dive in. Today, this is a huge topic, all right? How to find deals even in a hot market, okay? So let's define what a deal funnel is, why it's important that you learn how to put one together efficiently and effectively, and just like this kind of step-by-step mechanics on how to do this. So it all starts with a why. Everything starts with a why, okay? So again, remember, you have to have that financial roadmap in place. If you don't have a financial roadmap in place, I don't care what deal funnel you put together, it could very much be the wrong one for you, okay? So if you haven't already watched the videos on the roadmap, putting together a financial roadmap and an investing roadmap, go back and watch those, okay? We need to understand why you're getting into real estate, okay? What your financial situation is, or what problem are we trying to solve with your finances, okay? And it could just be as simple as that you want to transition into passive income. Maybe there is no specific issue. Great, let's quantify that. Okay, we have to quantify that. We have to understand what capital you have available to yourself, okay, to invest, and potentially what other capital you can pull in from others. We also need to understand what kind of time do you want to put into this? What kind of headache and problem are you willing to deal with? Okay, the larger the headache, the larger the problem that you are willing to solve for other people, the more you will get paid for it. Okay, if you're not really, willing to solve like a big, house, foundation problem or a financial issue or a emotional distress issue for others, you're probably going to be more on the turnkey investing side. That's totally fine. We just need to know where you stand on that continuum. And again, feeding all that data into your roadmap. Go back and watch that video. Super important. Then you need to understand what market you want to go into. Very important, okay? And I see investors do it all the time. They leapfrog into the market without understanding what it is they are trying to achieve, how they want their investment strategy to go, and they end up in the wrong market. I think so many of us can really identify with that investor who buys the property in their own backyard and they realize it doesn't cash flow, and then they're like, oops, how do I get out of this deal? Okay, I did that myself. Okay, so I have made that mistake. I totally understand that. So you got to have your roadmap, you got to have your market, you got to start building out your team in that market. Okay, and the team will help you run your deal funnel and do so many of the operational things in your business. But then that brings us to the deal funnel, the deal flow. And this really truly is the lifeblood of your business. You see, without deal flow, you can't pick up properties. You're not an investor, okay? So it is truly the lifeblood of your business. But I want to clue you in on something. When you build this deal flow, this deal funnel, really what you're doing is you're testing hypotheses constantly. I see another mistake I see investors make is that they really super focus on one market, one neighborhood, one type of deal, one particular strategy. Maybe it's a burst strategy, and they say, it's not here, I can't, there's no way I can make this happen, and they give up, okay? Really, you got to get into the kind of a scientific mindset. You're just continuing to constantly test your hypotheses until you hit on your deal flow, right? And, that leads into the last point, you test and pivot, you test and pivot, okay? So that's why we are focusing on the deal funnel and kind of, cluing you in on some of the obstacles that investors cover, or they encounter, I should say. So there's a few different ways that you can actually find deals. Let's get into the mechanics and the how that you can find deals. One, you can find them on market, okay? We can go on market retail. This is, working with a realtor to get plugged into the multiple listing service for that particular area and snagging listings that way. You can, set up your own searches on Zillow, Redfin, Trulia, even Realtor.com. All right. Majority of those kind of pull in data from the multiple listing services, but you also get some for sale by owner and maybe some wholesale deals off of that too. If you're looking for more either portfolio properties, maybe you can take 5, 6, 10, 15 units now at a time, or if you're looking for smaller multifamily type deals, maybe you can use like LoopNet, Cruxy, or SVN sites. And then much like your multiple listing service for single 1 to 4 units, you also have your broker sites, larger brokerage sites like Marcus and Millichamp, Cushman and Wakefield, and Colliers too. And then of course you've got your all your other commercial realtors if you're going more of a commercial route. Okay, so those are your on-market retail sites. Now here's a statistic. Generally, especially in the 1 to 4 space, 65% of the deals are not on market. They trade off market. Okay, they're not on these sites. Right? So you're really handicapping yourself if you haven't moved away from using just these sites and realtors. You have to find a way to get off market and into an investor type market. So some other ways that are, advertised, I still consider them on market. Okay, they're not entirely what we call off market deals, but you can use like a website like Bigger Pockets Marketplace, auction.com, Hubzu, and HomePath. HomePath is a neat little website. It's a federal program. The homes generally go to first-time home buyers first for the first, I believe, the 45, 60 days, and then investors can bid on them if they don't move. You also have sites like roofstock.com. You can find some deals on there as well. This is kind of an investor to investor sales platform. And then you can start networking with various turnkey providers and getting on their email list and searching their platforms. Right? Let's see here. Moving on to the next slide. But remember, the key to finding a great deal is actually you need to find a motivated seller. Okay? All right? And this goes for on market as well as off market. Like even if it's listed with a realtor, you're only going to get a great deal if that seller is motivated in some form or fashion. And to find a motivated seller, you need to be willing to solve a big problem for them. And their problems can be financial distress. Maybe they're going into pre-foreclosure or foreclosure. They've lost a job. Something has happened. Maybe they're going through a divorce and assets are getting split. There's some sort of emotional distress happening. This is generally, we see this in a death in the family or a divorce, okay? Or there's some sort of property distress. Maybe it's an older couple who just, still has the 1970s like wallpaper up and all brass finishes. That would be pretty minor. Or maybe they just have not kept up with repairing the roof when we got water leaks to fix or a cracked foundation. But there's some sort of property distress that needs to be solved. But the key here is the bigger the problem you're willing to solve, generally the better the deal you're going to find. And that is market dependent too. If you're in a super hot market, that delta between the actual value of the property and what you can get it for might not be as big, okay? But if you really want to be in the market, you may be okay with that, all right? That's totally fine. Because again, that goes back to your investment strategy. If you're willing to hold the property, value is all relative if you're going to hold for 10 to 30 years. All right, now let's get into our off-market deals. So here's some deal sources for you. If you're looking for off-market deals, more kind of investor to investor type deals, you can go to look up on meetup.com. Where are your single family or small multifamily investor groups meeting? Okay. Go there regularly. And I don't mean like 1 or 2 times and then start talking to people about their deals and then, you end up with in their pocket. You have to develop the relationship. And this, commit to this type of strategy for 6 to 7 months at least to evaluate if you're going to be able to pick up a deal from these various groups. You can go on, one of my favorite strategies is go on apartments.com, Craigslist, and Trulia and look for buildings or single family homes that are renting okay? And that their days on market are pretty long, and then reach out to that person and see if they want to sell, right? That's another kind of way to hack that, right? Talk to property managers. Okay, it could be your own property manager, but or various property managers in the market. Again, build a relationship with them over time. Find out who the players are in your market. This strategy, I feel, works really well for somebody who's managing, say, 300 to 800 units, because you could actually probably get to the owner of the firm and really understand, who their investor base is. Anyways, property managers know who's facing large ticket items for deferred maintenance, who might be really, who's about to retire, who might be willing to sell. That could be a good lead source. Also, you could reach out to banks, hard money lenders, and private money lenders to see if they have any assets that are on their book that are getting close to aging out, or maybe they're about to file like a foreclosure on. If they can actually sell that to another investor, without going through the foreclosure process, they're going to be so thankful, because banks, hard money lenders, and private money lenders, they're not in the business of owning property. They're in the business of collecting a check. Now, we can throw in credit unions here. I've seen the strategy work really well with hard money lenders and private money lenders, but I do know people who also approach banks as well. All right. Now you've got like kind of your more active like deal, like how do I like really find that deal that's so far off market that like, we've got to invest in lists and maybe build relationships with other vendors. Here are a few for you to take a look at. I think, people understand direct mail. You can purchase a list, say, from like List Source. There's also another website that's pretty specific for probate type lead sources. Another one, this is one that I've executed on, is making friends with like foundation crews in the area, especially if there are minor problems. I really like working this angle. Foundations were something I once stayed away from, but now like I understand how to work the problem, and I don't shy away from them a whole lot. But are there other type of vendors in the area, that you can partner with? Then there are your partners. Can you like make relationships with senior move managers? Right? Like if grandma has to move into the nursing home and has to move out of that house, like what are they going to do with the house? Can you actually pick up the house at a better value? I've actually sold property through a senior move manager before. All right. And then, like lawyers and stuff like that. I think lawyers is one that's been used quite often, but, maybe they have somebody that's going through a divorce or foreclosure defense or probate, and they know that there's an asset in there that needs to be moved. But again, you have to be willing to solve a problem, like a real problem, right? Whenever you get into these lists. Because remember, these people, they know they have a problem. These sellers in here, they know they have a problem, but they don't know how to solve it. They're scared. They just don't know what to do. So if you can be that knight in shining armor and come in and help them solve that problem, that's amazing. Okay, that's a win-win for everybody. So we've covered so many different ways that you can start piecing together your deal flow. Let's recap and get into the mechanics a little bit. Okay, like what is the plan here? Okay, one, I want to challenge you. Don't just consume the information. Put this into action. All right. And it's so easy for people to read all these books and jump on the podcast and read all these forums and stuff like that. But if they never take action, you're never going to get any closer to your goal. So here are your action steps. You can take a screenshot of this whenever I have it all up there, but set up 4 retail online searches. Are you going to catch a ton of deals, low value deals? No, probably not. Depends on the market, I guess. But at least you're starting to see the deal flow in the area. And it's not all about the deal. You want to understand who's selling the deal too. Can you build a relationship with that realtor who's selling the deal, and maybe catch those deals before they actually list them on the multiple listing service? Okay. I want you to set up 4 investor online searches as well. Okay. Again, start tapping into that 65% of the deal flow, that transaction, 65% of those transactions that never hit the retail market. Okay, that's where we want to be. We don't want to compete if we don't have to. All right. I want you to go find 2 investor-friendly realtors. Okay, these are not your family and friends. Okay, unless they have been in real estate and they know what they're doing. Go find 2 investor-friendly realtors that understand how to work with investors. They know you're going to be writing multiple offers. They know that you have a specific deal criteria, and they're going to help you find that deal. You want somebody who's hungry and aggressive. Contact 2 property managers in your market. Okay, start building relationships with them over time. See if they will eventually open up and start sharing with you a list of properties that could be sold out of that portfolio they manage. Here's the thing: why would a property manager do that? Well, if you are going to keep that business with a property manager, honestly, at the end of the day, as long as you're a responsible investor, they're not entirely, they don't really care who owns the property. They want to keep it in their portfolio. So especially if this is a property manager that you want to work with and you're going to keep that property in their portfolio for them to manage, even the better. It's still a win-win. All right. And then start, go online, search Meetup, or other like online forums, and find 2 investor meetings. Okay. A lot of these are happening virtually. So you can even attend, say like you want to invest out of state, you can attend investor meetings in that market if you would like. All right. Now if you really want to get into some of those off market type deals, the ones that you kind of got to get your hands dirty and solve some really big problems, go find 2 wholesalers. Great lead source for this is Facebook, actually. Okay, go find 2 vendors to partner with in your area, and then find 2 partners to partner with in that area, like a senior move manager or a lawyer or something of the like. If you total this all up, I mean, that is, oh my gosh, I can't do math. That's like 18 or 20 lead sources right here that you can start putting together with not that much effort. But the key point here is make sure to track your entire funnel. Any lead that comes in, you want to, that kind of fits your wheelhouse, you want to jot down what the property is, when it came in, who gave you the lead, because you want to constantly assess, especially in the early stages of setting up your deal funnel, where these leads are coming from, because you'll start pruning your lead sources, especially if they're high energy type lead sources. Say like you're sending out letters to a list and you're getting 0 deals from the list, but you're getting 10 deals a month from your wholesaler that are right in your buy box. Well, you could trim the list, that effort and that expense, and put more money into the time in building that relationship with that particular wholesaler. Okay, it's all about tracking. All right, so hopefully you guys have found this time really well spent. If this is the time for questions, go to the chat box, dump in your questions. And if you are looking for help on this, stay tuned. I have a resource for you that will help you actually tackle that investing plan, building out your market research criteria, and so much more. So what we have for you is the Investor Accelerator. It's a year-long mastermind, okay? And then this accelerator, again, is for anybody just starting off in real estate, or maybe you have several rentals under your belt and you just are hitting that level of scale and achievement and you don't know how to get past it. But if you think about it, the mastermind is a program to help you build a table, okay? Now, a table requires 4 legs. If you chop any one of the legs off, if you don't do any one of these things as you build your real estate portfolio, the table's going to fall over. And most people just go out and they seek all the education, right? We give you that education, okay? We have our repository of videos, downloads, reports. We put together the education in a linear process. You can walk through how to set up your business step by step. But again, that's only one part of the table. You have to have that plan. Remember, I showed you at the beginning, there's 3 things you have to have. One of them is the plan. We help you put together that business planning strategy plan from your financial roadmap and your investing roadmap, and culminating that together into your business planning strategy session. And then we'll help you solve all those puzzle pieces for the systems, okay? And then help you find your team, right? This piece right here, this systems piece, is what takes most investors a really long time to build out. And they think that they are being very active in building their business, when really systems are repeatable. Go find somebody else's business that is seeing the success that you want to see and copy it. Real estate is not a proprietary business model. So we help you shortcut all of this by giving you all of our systems, tools, checklists, all of our scripts, all of our letters, and sharing with you a large list of all of our deal finders and ancillary providers, really to help you fast track all your business building efforts. But the last piece is getting the right support to help you scale your business. So we meet twice a month. We have one call that's dedicated to business and growth strategy calls, and then we have another call that is dedicated to building your knowledge around investing and connecting you with an expert in the market. It can be learning seller financing or how to work with a wholesaler. It could be legal, it could be tax. We do all this to help you solve those issues quickly and move back on to those important pieces of building your business. And then of course, we connect with you weekly live to help you answer your questions and keep you moving forward. And then if you're more of an online forum type person, we do have a community for ongoing support. You can ask your question at 2 o'clock in the morning, if that's when you're up, and we will definitely respond to you the very next day. But if you like, just imagine what you could do with all the education, the plan, the systems, the support like this. I mean, you could scale as far as you wanted to. And that's really what our intent is teach you how to fish so you can do this for yourself. So if you're interested in that, jump on over to ashwealth.com/apply. Fill out it's literally a 10-second application there. We'll hop on the phone and determine if this program is the right fit for you. So if you got a question, jump over to the chat box. I just want to say thank you so much for spending your most precious resource with me, which is your time today, because time is non-renewable. And we are in the business of helping you get not only achieve financial independence and financial freedom, but get control of your time.